Everyone, welcome back to another episode of The First Touch with me, your host Baker Michael, and my co-host Oscar. Nice. So this week is international breaks, and we have a lot of content to bring you in terms of getting you up to speed with all the international games, and also a lot of the player injuries that have been going around, especially the COVID and other factors. So let's get right to it. First game we want to talk about, obviously, is the USMNT, U.S. Men's National Team playing up against Wales. They had a friendly game yesterday, and it was the first friendly for the USMNT in 285 days, and all the called-out players were based in Europe, and they had an average age of 22. And the young players just looked exciting to watch. It was a 0-0 draw, unfortunately, but the overall consensus is that they're a promising squad that needs more experience in playing together. And before the game, Serginho Dest actually stated that he believes the USMNT, they have a chance of winning the World Cup in 2026. Now, it's way too early to tell because it's 6 years before the World Cup and it's a young generation, but it gives fans hope and optimism about the future. Next game was Argentina against Paraguay, which was a CONMEBOL qualifier. And it ended 1-1, but it was a very dramatic match. For Paraguay, they grabbed the lead through Angel Romero. His penalty gave them the lead, and Miguel Almiron, who was formerly of Atlanta United, currently of Newcastle United, won the penalty. And Argentina, they actually equalized on the stroke of halftime through a header by Nicolas Gonzalez, who came on as a sub after Nicolas Tagliafico got hurt. And Lionel Messi, the main man, he had a potential game winner that was disallowed by VAR in the second half. The goal was ruled out because there was a foul in the build-up, but that foul happened 27 seconds before Messi scored his goal. And obviously he was very livid and wasn't happy about it, and so was his coach Scaloni in the post-match presser. And so with the 1-1 draw, Paraguay actually ended Argentina's 100% record in World Cup qualifiers. And now the Albiceleste, they will face Peru next this coming Tuesday. Third game we want to talk about is Scotland. They advanced to Euro 2021, their first major tournament in 22 years, which is a big deal. They beat Serbia 5-4 on penalties. Ryan Christie gave Scotland the lead in the 52nd minute with a sweet low strike that kissed the bottom right post before going in. It was you got to see it. It was a wonderful goal. And actually, Nikola Jovic, Serbian striker, who plays for your team, Real Madrid, Oscar, he tied the match right before the injury time through a teasing, bouncing header that broke Scottish hearts, but fortunately for them, the Serbian joy didn't last long because Alexander Mitrovic's crucial penalty miss sealed Scotland's fate. And David Marshall, their goalkeeper, was the hero of the night. And his eyes lit up when he realized the game was won, and that definitely meant so much to the hosts. And looking forward for Scotland, they're now drawn in Group D with England, and they will face England in what is the oldest international derby in football, and it dates back to the 1870s. And alongside Scotland and England in their group is Croatia, which is known to give England a hard time in the past, and the Czech Republic. And usually I'm not a big fan of international friendlies. I honestly, I think they're meaningless, but this past, was it Tuesday or Wednesday, Netherlands played Spain in a friendly, which was a 1-1 draw. Sergio Canales and Donny van de Beek were the goal scorers. And this puts Netherlands coach Frank de Boer under much scrutiny because he still hasn't won a game with the team and has a 0-1-3 record. And he actually had a horrendous stint with Crystal Palace back in 2017. He lost his first 5 games and was sacked. But to his defense, he did win 2 cups with Atlanta United and 4 Eredivisie titles. So, he's good in some places and not so good in the others. And another thing was Donny van der Beek. His performance asked more questions about why he's not getting a lot of playing time at club level for Man United. So we'll see. These are questions that are going to be answered soon. And last update, UEFA Euro 2020, the final groups were out today. The tournament opener is scheduled for 11 June of 2021, and Italy will host Turkey at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, so they will be home. It's a month-long tournament which has 12 hosts across different cities in Europe. The final is actually scheduled for July 11th at Wembley Stadium, which, gives England that extra motivation to actually make it there and fulfill on their promise of it's coming home, which, Obviously, didn't happen in 2018. And yeah, the Group F is the obvious group of death. Hungary, Portugal, France, and Germany. Three powerhouses going up against Minnows Hungary. And this reminds me of Euro 2012 when Group B was Denmark, Holland, Portugal, and Germany. And they were all drawn together. And now Germany is in that group, Group F. So I would say that Group F is the group of death and the one to look out for the most. Now, I want to segue to Oscar. I know you want to talk about player injuries, so what you got for us?
Definitely, and it definitely relates to the international break as well. Today I'm going to be covering how teams are suffering with their lack of rest and how players are getting overworked with their relentless football schedule / calendar. So it's no secret that teams are struggling to, in terms of keeping their players healthy and all that. It's a really weird season. Of course, we're having an off year. Plenty of high-profile players have already sustained long-term injuries, keeping them out through months, some even the whole season. Like you said, Becker, it's Euro season. This season is make or break for some players. They obviously want to represent their nations if they qualified, and they need to be in shape and in form, not injured. And this is a huge problem this season. It's really common for teams to play 2 or 3 times a week, but due to this calendar, they're doing this every week. It's not great for fitness, obviously. They're not getting a lot of time to rest. Obviously, they didn't have a preseason. No one had a preseason. Everyone just got a week off and then went back to it. They're all just exhausted, and we're seeing that right now as players are getting muscle injuries, and it's not going well. It's not even just top clubs. Of course, top clubs play their league games on the weekend, and they play European competitions like the Champions League and the Europa League on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But it's a lot of teams that are getting affected by this, obviously. Many managers and players are speaking out. To start off, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this past weekend said, "We were set up to fail with the kickoff time. We got Luke Shaw injured today. We went to Turkey Wednesday night and got back on Thursday morning. It is an absolute shambles. I can't praise the boys enough, and the boys deserve better to be thrown out there to fail today. The authorities have set us up to fail. We've had enough of that. Players this season, we have to understand the players in these times, how mentally draining it is, physically draining it is. No argument. It is a joke. They are not going to have the pleasure of seeing us lose again." Another manager that was very upset about the scheduling was Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. After his game against City with a 1-1 draw, he lost a player in Trent Alexander-Arnold to injury, and he had some words to the officials, the higher-ups of the Premier League, really. "No team on Wednesday night should have the 12:30 kickoff time on Saturday. Okay, Sunday, no problem. Not the 12:30, because you wake up and play football. This is the recovery phase. Premier League has to change. Sky, BT, everyone has to talk to each other." Like I mentioned, Liverpool did lose another key linchpin in their defense. They've already lost Virgil van Dijk due to injury, unrelated to muscle or COVID, but injury nonetheless. And Andy Robertson, their left back, had this to say about the injuries and the scheduling. "We have been relentless this season. Since the last international break, we have played Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday. It has been a game every 2 or 3 days. And things just get worse for Liverpool, really. During this international break, they lost their center back Joe Gomez with England duty. So there's another player out for them. Right now, their defense is it's in shambles right now. International call-ups are now calling up more than 23 players. This is new, but it's understandable now that, these players are tired. They need to be rotated in and out. Some of them could be injured. Some of them have suspensions that they could play the third game or the first game or the second game due to a yellow or accumulation of yellows or a red card. And obviously COVID, if any of them have COVID and they need to separate them. Just this past couple days, many Madrid players have been exposed to COVID and have had to wait for tests, such as Vinicius and Modric over here. So we'll see how that goes. As of now, it's projected that they could have a full 11 of players out for their next game due to injury or COVID. Another player that's going to miss out some time is Ansu Fati, the teenage sensation at Barcelona, has had knee surgery, so he's going to be out about 4 months. And during the international break, Nathan Ake for Netherlands and Man City suffered a muscle injury. And you mentioned him before, Frank de Boer. He had some words. Again, another disgruntled manager. He says, "Money is very important, but we also need to look after our players. All interested parties need to sit down and talk because the health of our players is important. We all agree about that, and decisions need to be made." Another international manager that had some words to say about this whole mix-up of games and clustering them together was England manager Gareth Southgate. He puts it, "The pandemic has thrown up all sorts of difficulties for people, but everybody has tried to cram the program into a smaller period. Nobody has given way and people haven't collaborated enough." And just to finish off, Tony Kroos, a player that had some words to say these past couple of days, was again disgruntled about how their players are being treated. He says, "We players are just the puppets of FIFA and UEFA with all these additional competitions that are invented. Nobody is asked." It's clear that on the side of football things, managers and players aren't happy. There isn't one clear way of solving these issues, of course, and it's looking more and more like the leagues and organizations care more about the money than the well-being of their players. They look more for the revenue and don't want to miss games. So obviously they care more about the money than caring for their players. And I feel like we really need to fix that very soon because they are the game. Becker, I know we have some trivia. I have some questions ready for you if you are.
Bring it on.
Cool. Okay. First one. This player did not play a single official match for his first professional club.
Okay. No clue. Next in.
Awesome. He finished top goal scorer in 2 different top 5 leagues.
Can I ask what those leagues are?
Sure. The Bundesliga and the Premier League.
I'm thinking about players who played for both leagues. Dzeko comes to mind, but he was the first one, so obviously it's not him. Aubameyang?
You got it. Yeah, so I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of First Touch. Becker, do you have any closing words?
Just keep on working on that first touch.
We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining us again. Until next time.